The first time she said it, it didn't sound like a confession. It sounded like a flaw she had learned to hide. "I've never been kissed." Her voice was steady, almost clinical, like she was reviewing a line item in a report, but her eyes gave her away. There was something fragile there. Something carefully locked behind years of control. Ethan Carter wasn't supposed to notice things like that. He was a single father, a man with rules, a man who had spent the last 6 years rebuilding his life after losing his wife. His world was small by design. His daughter Lily, his construction business, and a routine that kept everything predictable and safe. He didn't do complicated. He definitely didn't do women like her. Amelia Grant was his complete opposite. CEO of one of the fastest growing tech companies in the city, ruthless in boardrooms, untouchable in reputation, the kind of woman people admired from a distance and feared up close. And yet here she was, sitting across from him in his modest office, fingers lightly wrapped around a cup of coffee she hadn't touched, telling him something that didn't fit her image at all. "I don't see why that matters," Ethan said carefully, leaning back in his chair. Amelia gave a small, almost bitter smile. "It matters because people assume things about me. They think I've lived this full, exciting life. Relationships, romance, all of it." She paused, then added quietly, "I haven't." Ethan studied her. There was no performance here, no arrogance, just truth. "Why?" he asked before he could stop himself. Her eyes flicked up to his. "Because I never had time. And when I did, I didn't trust anyone enough to let them close." That he understood, more than he wanted to. The meeting was supposed to be about business. Amelia's company had hired Ethan's firm to renovate a series of properties. It should have been numbers, timelines, contracts. Instead, it turned into something else. Something personal. Something dangerous. Ethan cleared his throat and forced himself back into professional mode. "We should stick to the project," he said. Amelia nodded, slipping her mask back on. Of course. But something had already shifted. He felt it, and it didn't sit right with him, because Ethan Carter had rules. Rule number 1, don't get involved. Rule number 2, protect your daughter at all costs. Rule number 3, don't open doors you can't close again. Amelia Grant was every door he had sworn to keep shut. Over the next few weeks, they saw more of each other than either expected. Site visits, late-night calls about changes, unexpected delays that required in-person discussions. Every interaction chipped away at the distance Ethan tried to maintain. Amelia wasn't what he had assumed. She wasn't cold. She was lonely. He saw it in the way she lingered after meetings, like she didn't want to go back to whatever empty space waited for her. In the way she asked small, almost hesitant questions about his daughter. In the way her composure cracked just slightly whenever something felt real. One evening, everything shifted. Ethan had brought Lily to the site. A last-minute situation. His babysitter had canceled and he had no choice. He expected Amelia to be irritated. Instead, she knelt down in front of Lily, her sharp edges softening instantly. "Hi," Amelia said gently. "You must be Lily." Lily, clutching her stuffed rabbit, nodded shyly. "Your daddy's boss?" Ethan winced. Amelia smiled. "Something like that." For the next hour, Ethan watched something he couldn't quite process. Amelia laughed. Not the polite, controlled laugh he had heard before. A real one. Warm and unguarded. She helped Lily draw on scraps of blueprint paper. Listened to her stories like they mattered. Let herself be pulled into a world that had nothing to do with power or control. And for the first time, Ethan saw the woman behind the title. It shook him, because it made her human, and that made her dangerous. Later that night, after Lily had fallen asleep in the back seat, Ethan found himself outside Amelia's penthouse. He didn't remember agreeing to come. But here he was. Amelia stood by the window, city lights reflecting in her eyes. "You didn't have to walk me up." "I know." Silence stretched between them, heavy, charged. "You're good with her," Ethan said finally. Amelia's lips curved faintly. "She's easy to love." The words hit harder than they should have. Ethan took a step closer before he could stop himself. "And you think you're not?" Amelia's breath caught. For a moment, the confident CEO disappeared completely. "What are you doing?" she whispered. "I don't know," Ethan admitted. That was the truth. He didn't know why he was here. Didn't know why he couldn't walk away. All he knew was that something inside him was breaking through, Years of carefully built walls. You should go, Amelia said, but there was no conviction in her voice. Ethan didn't move. Neither did she. The space between them felt electric, unavoidable. I've never been kissed, she said again, softer this time. I wouldn't even know how. Ethan's chest tightened. Every instinct told him to leave, to follow his rules, to protect what little peace he had built. But another part of him, the part he thought had died years ago, refused to listen. He stepped closer, close enough to feel her breath. You don't need to know how, he murmured. Her eyes searched his, uncertain, vulnerable in a way that made his heart pound. Ethan, he hesitated. Just for a second, long enough to give her a chance to step back. She didn't, and that was all it took. He closed the distance. The kiss wasn't rushed. It wasn't reckless. It was careful, intentional, like he was afraid she might break. Amelia stiffened at first, clearly unsure. Then slowly she responded, her fingers gripping his shirt like she needed something to anchor herself. When they pulled apart, her eyes were wide, her breathing uneven. That was, she whispered. Yeah, Ethan said, his voice rough. Everything had changed. He knew it. And so did she. Amu. The next few days were a blur of tension. Ethan tried to pull back, tried to convince himself it had been a mistake. But Amelia didn't let him retreat so easily. You kissed me, she said during one of their meetings. Her voice calm but her eyes intense. You don't get to pretend that didn't mean something. It can't mean something, Ethan shot back. My life isn't built for this. Or you're just afraid to change it. The words hit too close to home. I have a daughter, he said sharply. I don't take risks. I'm not a risk, Amelia said quietly. A pause. Then softer. I'm just someone who doesn't want to be alone anymore. That broke him, because it mirrored something he had been too stubborn to admit. Amu. The turning point came unexpectedly. Lily got sick. Nothing serious, but enough to keep Ethan up all night. Worry twisting in his chest. He didn't call anyone. Didn't ask for help, until there was a knock on his door. Amelia stood there, holding a small bag. I brought soup, she said simply. Ethan stared at her. How did you? You didn't answer your phone. I got worried. She stepped inside without waiting for permission. Took care of things like she belonged there, and in that moment something inside Ethan shifted. This wasn't chaos. This wasn't risk. This was support. Warmth, something he hadn't let himself have in years. Later, when Lily was asleep and the house was quiet, Ethan found Amelia in the kitchen. You didn't have to do this, he said. I wanted to. He studied her for a long moment. Then slowly he reached for her hand. I'm tired of being afraid, he admitted. Amelia's breath hitched. Then don't be, she said. It sounded simple. It wasn't. But for the first time, Ethan felt like it might be possible. He pulled her closer. This time the kiss wasn't hesitant. It was certain, because some rules were meant to be broken, and some risks were worth everything.